Today I'm in El Ciego to visit Marques de Riscal, the oldest winery in the region. El Ciego is a traditional town surrounded by vineyards, but have a look at this. This is the Hotel Marques de Riscal, designed by Frank Gehry, who also designed the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao. Hello, Marta. If you're visiting the winery, it's a spectacular place to stay, to eat, and to drink some wine. And I've been given a tour by Marta Sanchez. Thank you so much. You're welcome.
Well, so Nef, here is where take place the first fermentation for premium wines. You can see that here we have French oak tanks, 14 French oak tanks, 14,000 kilo each.
What does the first fermentation mean?
It's when the yeast transforms the sugar into alcohol, when the grape juice becomes to wine. It takes 14 days. And during this first fermentation, the yeast transforms the sugar into alcohol and CO2. This gas makes that the skins that are inside
go up to the top.
Exactly. What's happened from the skins, we take the color of the wine. So during this first fermentation, we have to mix all the solid part with the liquid part to take the color of the wine.
So all the grapes that go in here are hand-picked, are hand-selected?
All our grapes are hand-picking, but here it's selected berry by berry. We have to choose the best moment to make the harvest. So here is where the wine comes to be aging. And according to the different wines, we have different aging and different barrel. These are French oak barrels that we use them to make our premium wines, but we have American oak too.
Once the wine is in the barrel, does it just sit here or what happens to it?
No, every 3 months we have to change the wine from different barrels because we have some sediments that we have to clean them. So every 3 months we move the wine from one barrel to different one to have the same age, the same tasting, the same aromas.
That's very important for the flavour of the wine for it to develop, is it?
See, have to be constant. And we have 37,000 barrels in total in the winery.
Wow, and how many bottles in one barrel?
That's around 300.
That's a lot of wine.
So, Neven, like you know, this is the oldest winery in Rioja. It was run in 1858, and now is the 5th generation of the owners. And this is their own private collection. We call this place the cathedral.
And Marta, how many bottles of wine are stored here?
Around 130,000 bottles are stored here since the first year bottling in this winery, since 1862 to nowadays. Most of these wines are still alive, are drinkable.
Very impressive.
When we want to open one bottle of those, we can use the corkscrew because the cork gets crumbled, no? So we use a special method, and I'm going to show you how we would do it. And when these stones are really, really hot, you can see it, I'm going to put them here on the neck of the bottle between the cork and the wine, but I need your help.
Okay.
Okay?
Happy.
So you need to take this brush and put it on the neck while I take out the tongues, okay?
I've never seen this before, so I'm quite excited.
Perfect.
Okay. So you can... So how long do you hold this for?
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Yeah. By the contrast, the bottle gets break. It's why you have to put the cold water around the neck. They will make a really clean, 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 clean cut. Are you ready? See?
Yeah. Let's go for it.
Come on.
Okay. Oh, jeez, I got a fright. Is that it? Oh, that's amazing. Clean, and no glass goes in there?
No, makes a really clean cut. So I think that we can try it.
That's really cool. Wow, my heart is beating.
No, it's perfect. You did it perfect.
That's I've never seen that. That's amazing. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's beautiful. Absolutely delicious. So, Marta, tell me about the wines we have here.
See, according to the age, into the barrel and into the bottle, we have the different kind of wines. The first one is a crianza. I mean, this wine have an aging of 1.5 years into the barrel and 1.5 years more into the bottle. The Reserva one, 2 years barrel and 2 more bottle aging. And this is the Gran Reserva one. This wine have an aging of 3 years into the barrel and 3 more minimum into the bottle. And the taste is different.
And the one we're drinking now is
it's
the
a Reserva.
Wow.
24-month aging in American oak.
Beautiful. Marta, I've had so much fun. I've learned so much.
It was a pleasure.
I wish you good health.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Gracias.
I've had the pleasure of visiting many lovely wineries over the years, and to go into the cathedral and see all the old wines was something very special. Now, in this next dish, I'm using a really nice wine, and this is from the Marques de Riscal, and this is the Rioja Alavesa. So when you're cooking like a red wine sauce with this, we're going to make some beef rolls, make a lovely stuffing. You can really taste the quality of the wine in the sauce. First thing we need to do is to make our stuffing. So we heat the pan, and this is a very unusual stuffing. We have parsnips, a little bit of curry powder, so it's quite quirky, but it's delicious. So a nice drizzle of some rapeseed oil. I'm going to just sweat off 1 onion, which I've finely diced. Into the pan. Spread that out a little bit. That'll just come right up now in a moment. And parsnip. I've just simply peeled the parsnip with a potato peeler, and then I've just grated it, just using a microplane. So I'm going to put some parsnip into the stuffing. It's a little bit different, but I think it works really well. Stir the onions for a moment. Add in the grated parsnip. So this is 1 parsnip I'm using here. And one of my favourite herbs in the stuffing is fresh thyme. So just pick off the tiny little leaves of this. This is just your regular common thyme. You can get lemon and orange, so many different varieties, which they grow here in Airfield. So just stir the pan. I'm going to let this soften for a minute or two. And then I'm going to add in the curry powder. It's actually a spice that goes really well with parsnip. 2 teaspoonfuls, and this is mild curry powder, by the way. It's not hot. It's aromatic, and it works really well because we're going to braise the beef lovely and slow. The most important thing about making the stuffing is to make sure that you cook out the curry powder. So I'm just going to add in some white breadcrumbs into this, and that'll soak up all those lovely juices. This needs to cook, so you bring it back up to a heat and let it slowly cook. So reduce the temperature underneath the pan, and it'll get really soft and moist. So from this is one we have cooked. So it's soft, moist. You can add a little bit of stock, you can add butter, you can vary it, but you want to just hold it together. So that's cooked for about 10 minutes. I want it cold because I want to stuff this lovely stuffing into the actual top side of beef. What I'm going to do is just prepare the beef olives. So get your butcher to thinly slice this, and as you can see, it's very lean. I'm going to season it with a little bit of salt, and then with the stuffing, I'm going to use a palette knife. So spread this all over. This is the parsnip, the onion, a little bit of curry powder. That's where you're getting that lovely yellow colour. And then we're going to roll these. The best thing to do to hold them together is with a cocktail stick. You'd want 2 of these per serving, and then taking your cocktail sticks, push them in, and this will hold them together when they're braising. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to wash my hands, and then we're going to seal these off in the pan before I braise them to get colour and start the cooking process. Some rapeseed oil. So we have them already seasoned. That's what you want to hear. As soon as they hit the pan, they begin to cook. So this is the first stage. You have your vegetables, so I've chopped carrots, onions, celery, and a little bit of thyme and bay leaf. So I've just softened them in oil, nothing else. Deglaze it with some of the red wine, and this is the Reserva, so it is. Pour this in, plenty of it, and then we're going to put some tomato puree, which will enrich it and thicken it up. And you just stir this through. Now with this recipe, there's no flour in it, and I'm just going to top this up with some beef stock. Just give it a little stir, completely put all this in here. That's roughly about a pint of beef stock in there. And you literally bring that to the boil. Just put the lid on, just to speed up the whole process. So I'm just going to turn over the beef. Look at that, that's perfect. It's lovely golden brown, and that's where all the flavour comes through when you're braising. So that's come up to the boil, the red wine, the stock, a little bit of tomato puree, and all your lovely root vegetables. The stuffed beef rolls, lovely golden colour. Lift them in. Remember, these are not cooked. These are still raw. You just seal them off. The lid goes back on. And then when it just comes back up to the boil, I'm going to lift the whole saucepan into the oven. The oven is preheated at 180, and these are going to take 1.5 hours to cook. So to serve with the beef rolls, I've made a potato puree. And you just peel some rooster potatoes, steam them, put them through a potato ricer, and you add in some butter and a little bit of milk. Delicious, no lumps. What I like to do, especially if you're serving this for a dinner party, put into a piping bag. I think it's hard to beat a good potato puree. They'll keep warm for about 10-15 minutes in the bag. These are the beef rolls. What I did was just mix up a dessert spoonful of corn flour with some water, and it thickened it up. I'm going to remove some of the beef rolls. This is another fiddly part, is just removing the cocktail stick, because these are warm. And that makes it probably a little bit easier just to use, and it should just come out. And be gentle, because the meat is fragile, it's cooked. So we're going to serve 2 of these in the middle of the plate. Pipe my potato puree. And then into the sauce, a little bit of chopped flat leaf parsley, just to find a little decoration and gives lovely freshness. You stir that through and then get lots of the sauce. So you're seeing all that lovely carrot, the celery, and the lovely sauce. I've cooked a little bit of broccoli. I have a couple of these over to the side. Comforting, fantastic flavors, and the secret is to using a really good red wine, which we use the Rioja. It's a full-bodied wine, rich, good flavor, a little bit of spice, and that's my beef rolls with the parsnip stuffing and the potato puree. This is the small town of Lanciego, about 15 kilometers from the Marques de Riscal winery. I've come here to see an olive oil expert and producer called Peter LaCuesta. We're meeting in what used to be a hermitage, but now it contains old presses that are still used by local farmers to make their own olive oil. This is a very impressive setting in the vaults. I can see and hear the water dripping. And this is my first olive oil tasting, I have to say.
Oh, what a honor.
So what's the first stage we do?
The first stage, we should grab your cup.
Anyone, it doesn't matter?
The left one, and warm it up. Because usually when we do the olive oil testing, the oil should be between 18 and 20 degrees to get the aromas. With some heat, the aromas go out.
So when you're tasting olive oil, how many would you taste at a tasting?
It's not like the wine. In an olive oil tasting, you don't want to taste more than 3 or 4. As you taste a new one, the sourness or the spiciness of the oil will stay. And when you are in the 3rd or 4th one, you will have there all accumulated, all the flavors from the previous ones.
So how long do we do this for?
For 2 hours. No, a couple of minutes until you can, you will see it. Then you can.
So you put the nose. Quite citrusy for me. Is this ready for tasting?
Yes.
So how do you just drink it from this?
Yes, usually first in the nose, what we are searching for more fruity or more mature odors.
Okay.
Just a little bit. How do you find this one?
It's not very intense. It's not very strong.
It's flat.
Interesting. So now what we do before the second one?
Yes, to clean ourselves.
No problem.
But how do you find this in your mouth?
The oil is nice. It's not overly intense. It's it's nice.
This is like a regular extra virgin olive oil that you will find in the supermarket. Yes.
So is this ready now?
Yes.
So we smell it?
Smell it.
Oh, this smells more intense now.
The temperature here is a bit cold for the oil.
Really?
Yes.
It's my favorite.
Yes.
It's more intense.
Because
wow.
I made it.
Very powerful in the mouth, isn't it?
And also, in the mouth, it's lighter. It goes inside. It doesn't stay on the sides.
It's very good.
And now go.
Go like that?
Yeah. That's the retro nose. It will start spicy. The little
A little
spice.
heat, a little heat, just a
heat.
little
Comes. Give it some seconds. We
okay.
will go higher.
Will it?
Yes.
Will it?
This variety from here, it has these peculiarities. It's quite sour and quite spicy.
You've got extra virgin olive oil, and olive oil. What does the virgin mean?
The virgin means that it's been produced or elaborated under 27 degrees Celsius. Mechanical procedure, not chemical, and always with the temperature control, under 27 degrees Celsius.
So it's the consistency of the temperature.
And clean fruits, clean and healthy fruits.
Okay.
That's the main point. Extra virgin means that has no defects.
So what does it mean when there's no virgin in olive oil?
The regular olive oil, the one that we buy in the plastic bottle in the supermarkets, that's olive oil which has been refined. When the quality was not good or whatever, or in order to extract more quantity out of it, they use chemical procedures. And then that leaves you a flat, colorless, odorless liquid. Together they add extra virgin olive oil, 10%, 15%, and that's what is olive oil. So it's 80% of something obtained chemically with 20%, 10%, 50% of the real thing.
And Peter, with extra virgin olive oil, would you cook with it, or is it too good to cook with, or there's, you know?
Well, as long as you can afford it,
Okay.
it will be good. But no, actually, we recommend to have this olive oil with salads or with fresh vegetables.
You have some wine for me to taste.
Yes. This comes from La Puebla, from a nearby village. It's a family home wine, Viña Martión.
Okay.
And it's a young wine. This has been elaborated here with the carbonic maceration, which is typical from this area. To create the wine, they don't separate the grapes from the bunch. They put it all together. And they don't press it. They put it all on top, and by the gravity, the wine keeps pouring out of the...
It's beautiful.
Yes. Oh,
It's very
cheers.
good.
No,
Cheers.
how do you
Sláinte.
say? Sláinte.
Sláinte.
Yeah,
Or
sorry.
chin-chin, whatever you want to call it.
Chin-chin,
Now, we also have some food. I'm intrigued what's here. What have we got here?
I wanted to surprise you. We're having a little bread, which is being made with a reduction of grapes, creating like a syrup.
Oh, syrup.
That's inside the bread. And then we have some dark chocolate with some...
Sea salt
good
crystals,
yeah,
is it?
crystals, yeah. Now we're
Okay.
gonna... Yes.
A drizzle of the oil.
And it goes really well with the wine. Furthermore, yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is the oil you make?
Yeah, this is the one I make.
So just eat everything together?
Please.
Okay. The salt is very interesting. And the oil. The chocolate takes a while to kick in. I like it.
That also goes well with the chocolate.
It certainly does. But also it's good quality chocolate. It's not a sweet one.
Oh.
It's a good dark one.
We always try the best. This is only one life.
You're right. As Peter said, you've only got one life, so let's make the most of it. And I found it really fascinating to taste the two different olive oils, and the way he served it, the pinchos, the crispy bread with the chocolate and the salt, they were delicious, so they were. So for this recipe, I've got lots of flavours from Spain. Roasted red peppers, some lovely vine tomatoes, basil, olive oil and garlic. First thing I'm going to show you is to make a basil flavoured oil. So I'm going to pick this lovely basil, there's lots of it here in Airfield, and we're going to put this into the food processor. You need lots of basil for this. And it's just basil, oil and salt, and that's it. So I'm going to use some of Peter's extra virgin olive oil. You need quite a bit of this. I'll put a small amount in first of all. And then our salt, I'm going to use some sea salt. And I'm just going to blend this. Now I will add more oil, but what you want to do is just make a puree first, and then you loosen it up with the oil. So that looks lovely. I'm going to lift this off. Now, what I'm going to do when I make my gazpacho, I'm going to use the same blender. Saves on the wash up, but it's more about the flavour. But we need to pass this through a sieve. So I'm just going to show you the texture of the oil as it is, because I want to get a really clear, smooth oil. I don't mind that texture, but I want to show you what we do in the restaurant. So we pass it through a fine sieve and just let it drain in. This oil will keep for at least a month in your fridge. And then just gently push this through. Use the back of the spoon to push it through. So that's my oil made. And I find the best way to keep it is in a squeezy bottle. These are great. They're not expensive. They're a great thing to have in your kitchen. Pour this in. Lid on. And then just before you use it, you just shake it, because what will happen, there's still a tiny little bit of sediment that will sink down, but the flavour is there. And the longer you leave that, even for a couple of hours, the flavour is fantastic. Now, onto our gazpacho. So these are my roasted peppers. So all I've done is just simply drizzle them with a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper into a good hot oven at 220, and they'll take about 40 to 45 minutes. So what happens when you roast peppers, they get sweeter, the flavour intensifies, and also they soften. The best way, I think, to remove the skin is just using a knife, and it should just peel off. If you find it struggling, just use the knife, and it's soft. You can just hold it in your hand. If you don't like peppers, if you roast them, I think it changes the flavour. I know with my wife, Imelda, she doesn't like raw peppers, but when they're roasted, she really likes them. We used to roast peppers when I worked in Leah Leinster. She's a chef in Luxembourg. So we used to get the blowtorch, you know, like when you're caramelising creme brulee, and you'd actually blowtorch brown, completely blacken the outside of the peppers, wash it off, but you kept the texture of the peppers, whereas this is soft, it's a little bit mushy, which I want, and it's really sweet. Now, we're going to scrape out all these seeds. This just takes a minute. And then I have a little bit of kitchen paper just beside me. Wipe your hands every so often. So just scrape this out. So that's my 2 peppers ready. Now you can use the pre-roasted peppers, which are absolutely fine, but I think the flavour is nicer, to be truthful with you. Straight into the blender, and then we need to get some of our other ingredients in here. Garlic, of course. You could, if you're making the basil oil, put 1 clove of garlic in. Just peel it, pop it in like that. A little bit of onion. We don't want it overpowering. That's the one thing about raw onion. If you put it in, it can be a little bit overpowering. You can make this with red onion, but this is just, say, 1/4 of a small onion in here. And them are tomatoes. So these are the key ingredients. Beautiful plum, ripe tomatoes. So I'm just going to put 3 tomatoes into this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a puree first. I'm going to put some tomato puree, blend it, and then I'm going to add in some stock. So that's going to loosen it up. So I'm going to put 2 large spoonfuls of tomato puree in here. Now we need to get it seasoned up with salt and pepper. Good pinch of each. Into the blender. Guess what? More basil. So it's a really light, refreshing soup, this. So we're making the puree first, and then I'm going to slowly add in some stock. Let's blend it. So what I'm going to add is, this is some vegetable stock, and from a cube is fine. Just a low salt cube. We would make our own vegetable stock in the restaurant. And that's actually one of the easiest to make. So I'm going to put half of this in. And this really depends on if you want your soup kind of thick or light. You can adjust it to your own taste buds and whatever texture you want. I'm also going to finish it with a little bit of olive oil. Good slug of the olive oil. And then blend it again. So about 30 seconds blend. So just let's have a look at this. It's kind of silky, and tell you what gives that lovely silky effect is the olive oil. Let's taste it. Love it. It's sweet. You know what, sometimes you could put a little splash of vinegar in that. Balsamic I love, but yeah, it's beautiful. Ready to serve. Now I like it that consistency. I don't want it too thick, I don't want it too loose. Perfect. Now this gazpacho can keep for 2 or 3 days in your fridge. It'll keep perfect, so it's chilled. Bring over the soup. Now to serve with this, I have a little bit of toasted bread. Remember the basil oil? We're going to drizzle this around. And then, just for a little bit of freshness, we'll use a couple of tiny little sprigs of basil and then a little bit of black pepper. That looks beautiful. That's so light and refreshing. I'd love you to try this at home. That's my roasted red pepper and tomato gazpacho with the beautiful olive oil from the Basque country.